Never think you're too small to achieve something big, because even the tiniest wings can reach the highest places. In the middle of a vast forest stood a giant old tree. Its branches touched the sky. Many birds lived there: eagles, parrots, crows, and owls. Among them lived a tiny sparrow. She was the smallest bird in the entire forest. Because of her size, the other birds never took her seriously. Whenever she spoke about her dreams, they laughed. One day, the sparrow looked at the top branch of the tallest tree and said, "One day I will build my nest there." The birds burst into laughter. An old crow mocked her. "You?" he said. "That branch is too high." A parrot laughed loudly. "You're too weak to carry enough twigs." Even the pigeons shook their heads. "Give up," they said. "Small birds should dream small." The tiny sparrow felt hurt, but deep inside her heart, she refused to quit. The next morning, before sunrise, she flew across the forest searching for twigs. She found one tiny twig and carried it carefully back to the tall tree. It took all her strength. The wind pushed her away again and again, but finally she placed the twig on the branch. One twig, that was all. The other birds laughed when they saw it. "That tiny twig will never become a nest," they said, but the sparrow ignored them. The next day she brought another twig, then another, then another. Every day she repeated the same routine. Some days strong winds destroyed everything she built. One terrible storm scattered her twigs across the forest. The sparrow looked at the broken pieces of her hard work. For a moment, tears filled her eyes. She felt tired, discouraged. Maybe the others were right. Maybe she really was too small. As she sat quietly on a branch, an old owl flew beside her. Unlike the others, the owl had watched her silently every day. The owl asked gently, "Why do you keep trying?" The sparrow looked down and whispered, "Because this dream matters to me." The owl smiled. "Then never stop." The sparrow sighed. "But the wind destroys everything." The owl nodded. "Yes, but notice something important. The wind also tests your strength." The sparrow listened carefully. "Big things are never built in one day," the owl continued. "Even the strongest nests begin with one small twig." Those words changed something inside her. The next morning, the sparrow returned to work, again and again. While other birds spent their days talking, arguing, and laughing, the tiny sparrow kept building. Slowly, the nest began to grow, twig by twig, day by day, week after week. Then one peaceful morning, sunlight touched the top branch of the tree, and there it was, a beautiful nest, strong, safe, complete. The birds stared in silence. The same birds who once laughed were now shocked. The crow couldn't believe it. The parrot whispered, "She actually did it." The sparrow stood proudly beside her nest, not because she was the biggest bird, but because she never stopped. The old owl flew beside her and smiled. "You see," he said, "strength is not about size, it's about consistency." The tiny sparrow looked across the forest and said softly, "Big things are built one small step at a time." From that day on, whenever young birds felt weak or afraid, they looked at the tiny sparrow's nest high above the forest, and they remembered, you do not need to be powerful to begin. You only need the courage to keep going. Moral: never underestimate small efforts. Consistency creates success.